Just in one box. I mean, technically another box arrived today, but that stuff's not anime or anything anime related or video game related or whatnot. Didn't want it to fall in the space bar there, but whatever. In addition to this pile of stuff, a Hentai DVD did ship and arrive, and this one, while it's definitely risque, it's not as bad as a lot of stuff that comes in. In fact, it's not as bad as a lot of the normal DVDs. I guess it's worth mentioning. I mean, this is a new title because it's a Kitty Media release, and as you can see, it's a DVD burnable. This was ordered from Right Stuff, so unless Right Stuff is selling bootleg hentai, which they probably aren't if it has a Kitty Media label on it, you know, that's apparently where hentai is going. I guess there's this, the Omega edition of Death Note on Blu-ray. I guess it's just called the Omega edition. The idea here is, even though I already have Death Note, of course I buy stuff on Blu-ray that I only have on DVD. I'm not sure that this would necessarily give me anything notable. Look at that, region A only. But, it's nice and heavy, which means it probably has all the discs in it, like it should. It says Blu-ray, Blu-ray, Blu-ray. So I would only need the Blu-ray release, and I'm pretty sure they take that into account, because, you know, this was a popular series. That's an upside down 2. Number 4 is loose. Hey, number 6 is different. Feature films 1 and 2. Now that I wasn't expecting. I guess I wasn't paying a whole lot of attention to what was coming out, but has 37 episodes. Is that right? Is that how many Death Note has? I don't remember. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 times 4 would be 36, so I guess 37 is about right. It's a Death Note manga thingy. Oh yeah, there was something like that. Well, that's a Death Note Omega edition. Next up we have Wizard Barristers, which actually intrigued me. I'm guessing because there's something about the character design that is distinct. I guess it reminds me of the Mezzoforte kite one guy person. Now, I don't know what that means about the quality of the show itself. I've not heard its name before, but it's piqued my curiosity. And of course, Blu-rays, region A only, and hey, it's dubbed. That's actually really good. With all the Pokemon I've been doing recently, I've been watching dubbed stuff. So we've got the 2 discs. I think we're going to leave this open while we look in the DVD version, just because those are complex enough that, you know, it was possible that it didn't share the first disc image, which it does. And then you got 2 and 3. So disc 2s are the same, but disc 3 of the DVD version is unique to the DVD version artwork. Pretty cool. Digimon Fusion Season 2. 5 DVDs. Flat iron release. Not sure what to make. I'm trying to remember what they've released before, what they looked like. I just remember those 8 DVD sets for most of the Digimon seasons. It's nice that a lot of Digimon is coming out, even if I don't watch it. I mean, I'm definitely more of a Pokemon person. You know, there's something where sometimes you prefer the character designs. or there's more complication or something with the character stuff. I don't know. And then last but not least, Mobile Suit Gundam Zeta. Should be collection 1, I think. It says 1 right there. Region A only. With 25 episodes. And I think I already have this on DVD. Yeah, that's Zeta Gundam. I see some Zeta Gundam on the shelf from here. Which is why, oh my god, what's wrong with this plastic? And now it's stuck. Come here. Ugh. Whatever. Getting on the inside. Yeah, there we go. There's a person there. Now I can find right side up. Person's a little smaller on that one. Interesting. I don't know much about Zeta Gundam. I've not watched it. You know, same problem with a lot of my anime, but still want to keep up on it, and maybe this is how I'll watch it. I don't know. Well, this week's anime DVD collection update. So, last week I had started watching Love Live. I did finish watching it. Season 1, that is. Season 2 is still there, and it's not going too far away because it's on the side of my brain in terms of I do want to go and watch it, but I felt like mixing things up a bit, I guess. So, yeah, with that stuff. So, what did I think of the first season? I thought it was okay. This is the problem. There's been a lot of lack of sleep, a lot of Pokemon, and a couple of other anime since I last watched this. It was enjoyable. It went places I didn't quite expect, but I thought it was fun. I mean, it's kind of weird because I'm not really into the whole idol thing. It's like, I don't understand. I don't feel like obsessing about a person like that, I guess. Just somebody who's, you know, not reciprocating in that regard, and idols really can't, not as much, because, you know, the idea is, you know, you can be obsessive about your fans, but that's all of your fans, and you can be like, I don't know, there's another anime here that's kind of related to that, but I'll talk about that in a little bit. I'm just trying to think if there was anything I could remember about this worth mentioning, and I don't know. I'm drawing a bit of a blank. Is there anything I can comment on about the dub? I didn't notice anything too bad about it. Maybe that doesn't mean it's good, because I haven't watched it subtitled, but I don't know. So, like I said, instead of going on to the second season, I decided to watch Tokyo ESP. I thought it was okay. It definitely doesn't feel like a solid 6 show, even though it's kind of rated that. But I can kind of understand. It's not super satisfactory. I think maybe for a lot of people, it feels like it's lost potential. The first episode I thought was really great. It kind of builds this mystery. You're kind of curious about certain things, about maybe not too much about the politics of why stuff is happening, because let's face it, we all grew up on X-Men, and maybe some of y'all are young enough that y'all didn't grow up on the old 90s Saturday morning cartoon X-Men, but that concept is out about in nerd culture, so you kind of already understand, and you can have guesses to what's going on, and maybe you don't know the exact details, and maybe there's real instigation going on and whatnot, but ultimately you kind of don't care about that stuff, but it sets up this interesting, mysterious, leaving you guessing about a couple of major aspects of the show. And then from there, it doesn't necessarily go a bad place. It just doesn't hold on to that super mysterious, making you pondering this. And after that, I think the problem really comes down to we wanted to be satisfied by the main characters, but I guess they couldn't have the plot continue to flow the way they wanted to without making it seem like they were absolute nothings, I guess. I mean, the payoff in that regard is slightly okay. I'm just talking carefully because I don't want to spoil it. But, you know, overall, it was kind of interesting in how it was run. It was okay, it was okay, it was okay. There was nothing about it that I found absolutely insulting and would prevent me from actually watching it a second time. Like I said, it's just unsatisfying. It ends with a couple of questions, a couple of big questions that it doesn't answer. Some of the people have ideologies that are just blatantly, how can you not see yourself as a selfish piece of shit you are, or something like that, but nothing super bad. I wouldn't be surprised if this is actually somebody's favorite anime and most people are just like, yeah, whatever, are you crazy or something. So, I followed up with Nohrin because that was also in the pile of stuff from last week. It was dubbed, and, you know, it was sitting right there in front of me while I was watching other stuff and playing Pokemon, and I read a little bit about what it was about, and I'm like, okay, I'm actually kind of curious where it's going with it. The idea being actually kind of related to Love Live, and that's about Pop Idol, except she moves out to the country for some reason. And, I mean, I kind of know the reasons, and I don't think the show is particularly secretive about that sort of stuff, but, you know, that's pretty much just a good way to summarize the show, what it's about. Now, as for the watching of it itself, I thought it was amusing. I didn't think anything blew my mind, per se, but it was a lot goofier than you would think it would be. And it worked out kind of well. I mean, I've complained about things in the past where it's like, okay, this anime seems to have as its shtick, haha, this person got hurt, then that must mean it's funny, and I kind of require more substance than that, because otherwise it's just kind of insulting. And I bring that up because this anime is a nice contrast, because while those elements are still there, it's all about just going wherever it wants to with its stuff, and so that stuff happens not because that's what we're supposed to find funny, but because it's part of a suite of things that we're supposed to find funny. It's kind of like how a lot of shows, they definitely don't want a girl ever being hit ever unless it's supposed to be like a kick the dog moment. And if you're not familiar with that trope from TV tropes, that basically is we're trying to establish somebody as a bad guy, and that's why they put a girl on screen, because we care about girls. You know, they're cuter than guys, at least as a guy. That's the truth for me. And so, you know, there's a degree of innocence there, and this can also manifest in other ways, but the point is that, you know, there's this tendency to not want to show violence happening to girls unless it's kind of a bad guy showing how much of a bad guy they are. And there's definitely been other anime that are like, that's actually kind of stupid. And I think Railgun is kind of, well, not Railgun, it's technically an index that's known for that. It's like, yeah, you know, sometimes you have to take a person down to prevent them from destroying a city. And there was another one with some guy, I think it was like Needless or something like that, where I noticed that one was kind of doing that as well. And it's nice to know that not everything gets locked down. And this one felt freer. I don't think it was perfect. It wasn't always super awesome, but it was kind of there, and it worked out, and I actually enjoyed my time watching it. I don't think I stopped, and it was while I was playing Pokemon and taking care of the Elite Four and stuff like that. Finally, since I was in the middle of Pokemon stuff, I was being a bit lazy with what I was selecting next. I'm like, you know, this was on my pile of stuff to watch over there, and I checked and it's like, oh, it's dubbed. Okay, yeah, I'll put it on. I've always been kind of curious because, you know, some of this artwork is mysterious. This person is doing the, you know, Gasai face, or something like that. So I was kind of curious. I think I've put off watching it before because it's called Devil Survivor 2, which suggests that it's actually based off of the game probably, and the game would probably be the second game, and whether or not there would be a relation between the two, I wouldn't know, and I just said, fuck it, I'm going to throw it on and watch it. And I can actually see it's probably a pretty fun game. I can kind of understand how some of the mechanics from that would have been implemented here. I've never seen anything Persona except for a bit of Persona Trinity Souls, but I kind of wonder if maybe there's some interesting overlap there. The premise, the reason why it's called Devil Survivor is because it's kind of, it's not post-apocalyptic, but it is something like that, which is like post-major disaster, I guess. It's kind of like Tokyo Magnitude in a way, except that you have characters and a secret government organization fighting things. And I think the setup's actually really neat. The problem, well, it's hard to say beyond that if it's great. It's watchable. It's definitely been enjoyable, at least, and I'm curious to see what happens, but I'm pretty sure that, you know, given that this is all I have, that it's probably not going to be anything that spectacular, and maybe, yeah, I don't know. Video game implementation of anime can be weird sometimes, but I'm enjoying it. I'm going to continue watching it. Well, outside of watching that, I don't know if I watched anything else. It's actually okay amounts. It feels like old school style stuff. Maybe it's because I've started old school Pokemon stuff, and it's getting a bit more old school in that, like I said earlier, I beat the Elite Four and the Champion, and I don't think my Pokemon, well, actually, I know my Pokemon have never been that overpowered in a Pokemon game started from scratch. They were level 90 to level 99. I mean, they were one-hit KO everything except the damn sturdy thing and the two spongy things. So that actually happened Sunday, and I've been going from there to, alright, I need to start taking control of this game's mechanics, breeding, and other things. So how do I start doing that? And I've been setting myself up and preparing, and so I think the first thing I did was I took a routes in the Ditto, and I kept breeding them until I got a male adamant routes. And then I bred a couple more off of him so that I would have some backups in case I wanted to send it to my friend. I figured out my HM slaves. I took that guy, EV trained him, evolved him into a Gallade with Hypnosis and False Swipe. It also has Heal Bell, but it turns out that doesn't work the way I was hoping it would, and something else. Swords Dance, of course. And so that I EV trained him, leveled him up to 71, I think is when I stopped, and then I've been capturing Dittos ever since, which is to say that I started capturing Dittos last night. I've only got like 25 of them, but I think that feels like the way to really start. I've gone through the Elite Four a couple of times, and I have a pretty good idea how to shrink my team down to 2 Pokemon taking everything out, until I go and get a Kyogre, and then Kyogre just obliterates everything. Maybe? Well, no, there's a damn sturdy son of a bitch. Sturdy. But I guess I'm going to set it up with at least 2 Pokemon so that I can hit them. Now, this is, of course, Generation 6's Y, so it's old, and the announcement of Sun and Moon coming later this year, I guess, has happened. So I don't know if our timing is really good or really bad. I think it's actually really good for my friend, because all the event Pokemon are being re-released, all the 1st to 5th gen event-only Pokemon. And I was surprised to learn that Deoxys is no longer a event-only Pokemon, because I guess he shows up in another regular game and you can just catch him whenever now, which is cool. Deoxys is nice to have. But, yeah, I don't know. I don't know what this all means, but I do know that I am enjoying playing Pokemon again. So, of course, I'm going to catch a bunch of Dittos, find some good IV, EV options. The IV breeding is probably going to be a little slow for my initial couple Pokemon, but I will be building up some anti-Elite Four and some stuff that should work initially in the Battle Mason, I guess. Start gathering BP, start getting the power items, start breeding for reals or something like that. Yeah, so I've got a plan, but of course, that part I started talking about there, that's slower. Who knows how long it'll take me to catch, to spend all 300 Ultra Balls catching Dittos, and maybe I'll get a Ditto of each nature like I want, but who knows. It's Pokemon. The random number generator was designed to screw over everybody absolutely everywhere eventually. So, we'll find out what happens. Is there anything else worth mentioning? Definitely, I think there's two... No, I think there's one TRSI package coming in, unless there were two. Did something come out last week? No, of course. The Hentai was a TRSI release. Okay. So I do have something else shipping there. I don't know what else is coming out, but I guess everything's good for now. Y'all have a nice week.